I'd like to call to order the City of Apache Junction City Council meeting to order. The invocation will be led by Vice Mayor Rizzi and the pledge by Council Member Heck.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of being gathered here today to do the city's business on behalf of our constituents. We thank you that we live in a free country where we can vote. We ask that each of us be guided by you in the decisions we make that affect others and not by any personal agenda or ego. We ask to be humble in our disagreements and that we never forget we are here to serve the people of this beautiful community. Father, we ask for your continued protection for all of our first responders, those serving in our military, and all of their family members. We ask that they be brought home each and every day safely. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Present.
Councilmember Evans, here. Councilmember Heck,
Yes, here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Present.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'm just going to make a quick little statement up front. We're not going to hear tonight to discuss anything that's been going on for the election or anything. If you got any questions, the Pinell County, who is responsible for the election, they're putting out press releases on this, and pay attention to that. Thank you. Okay, consent agenda. Do I have a motion for consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Heck,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay. Excuse me. Don't have any awards or presentations. Regional intergovernment updates. Do we have any announcements from City Council for current?
Yeah, I have one.
Nope.
No.
Would like to say things, but no. City Manager's report. Right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bryant Powell, City Manager. I just want to say thanks to my staff and all those who've been able to help support the efforts of keeping Matt. Thank you for letting me go for a couple weeks. It was a really huge opportunity to go to Ecuador and take my family to where I got to serve when I was 19 and 20 back in those days, and take them and see some of that area. And so we did kind of a vacation and also a little service time. And I just want to thank everybody for helping me support me on that. And so thank you. Kept things cranking. Wanted to also share that Jennifer today, as our election official, spent her day out at the polls. So she represents the City of Apache Junction in the as the election official, and went to each of the polls just to check in and see what was going on. She took great notes. August is the beginning of our boards and commission season. So Al, I don't know if you could, bring that one up. So we are now expecting that in October, you will be, for virtually every single boards and commission, just like every year, starting the process of putting or placing folks on our boards and commissions. August is the time we do we start the process for advertising, and then we start accepting applications in September. Just wanted to get the word out. Al's going to start getting the word out, starting to let people know. We would love to have as many folks as possible just participate in the local government like we've had before, and it's now the beginning of that time. It sneaks up quick, and I know Jennifer and her team, Evie, are working very hard to help that process go great in terms of the interviews and the selection. The next item for my report is a presentation and discussion with Chief Michael Pooley on a new member of his staff, a new commander, and I'd like to turn the time over to Chief Pooley.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Appreciate this opportunity. I want to take a minute to introduce the
the newest member of our department. He's Commander Johnny John. He's from Thatcher, Arizona. He spent the last 24 years working in the Tempe Police Department, and he just came here a couple weeks ago, and I'll have him to say a few words, but thank you.
All right, first, I'm from Pima, Arizona.
Pima.
I would not claim Thatcher. It's too much of a robbery. If I did claim Thatcher, I'd be in trouble. My wife would be happy, though. She's from Thatcher. Now, I'd just like to say how I'm excited to be here. I've been here for 3.5 weeks now. This is my third week. I guess 2.5. This is my third week. It's been very, if I may say, refreshing to put a uniform on, walk around City of Apache Junction, and actually have people walk up and welcome me and shake my hand and actually say, hey, thank you for what you do, versus other things that I can't repeat in city council. So, but it is. I'm excited to be here. I look forward to getting to know everybody in the city. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And Commander John will be over our operations. We want you guys just to be informed so you can be involved with things that are going on in the police department and let you know that you're in good hands. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chief. And for my last item tonight, we're going to turn the time over to Al Bravo for announcement of current events.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Al Bravo, Public Information Officer for the city, and it's nice to have the chief here because I did want to make sure everybody was aware of the events of Thursday and a little into Friday of last week, where we had our latest big monsoon storm hit the city, and we do want to acknowledge the different folks who have been involved in dealing with that kind of storm. Certainly our police department front and center, and we'll get to that in just a second here. Superstition Fire and Medical, of course, were involved. The Mesa and Tempe fire departments also were helping out. So there was a lot of folks, obviously Pinal County Sheriff's, a lot of folks helping out in what turned into a pretty significant storm with a couple of inches of rain falling in just a couple of hours, which of course leads to all kinds of flooding issues, as you're all imminently aware. If you're anywhere along Weeks Wash or any of the other washes that go into town, we ended up closing, I think, 12 to 15 of our streets at some point during the afternoon. Had a number of them open, including the major arterials by the end of the day, and then the rest of them on Friday. And maybe the most miraculous outcome of all of this on Thursday was we got out of all of these issues probably a dozen rescue calls and everything else that happened without a major injury. And that's saying something, that we did not have anything more than, I think one of the officers got a cut or something. I think there was literally not any injuries out of that day. And it's a pretty amazing day. From a communication standpoint, I will tell you that every single station and just about every radio station and just about every newspaper in the town did get in the state, exactly, and farther, as I will impart in a minute, did report on what was going on out here, because it was, like I said, a pretty significant event. And part of that is that we get, once the TV folks start reporting on us, they start sharing with their own other stations in other cities and other states. So that's where it kind of takes a life of its own. The other thing, of course, that happens is when there is something really, really compelling and really, really dramatic, that gets a lot of attention. And we had that particular incident happen during Thursday afternoon.
Get up! Get out of your thing! Here, wrap this around this.
This is one of our officers,
Wrap this through there.
part of one of the rescues.
Come on,
This is
man!
a woman
Come on!
in this car off of Superstition and
Hang on,
Cortez.
here comes Eddie. Got it? Come on, come on! Come on, I got you, come on! Hurry, the water's coming, ma'am. Come on, come on, come on!
And as the kids say, this particular video went viral. It has very much been shown, not just locally and statewide, which of course I got a lot of play on Friday when we released it to the television media and to the news media, but it has kind of taken on a life of its own, and so there are more reports on that particular. So we really do want to acknowledge not just the police department, but all the folks, first responders and beyond, who did take part in rescues and in taking care of folks, cleaning up our streets to get everything as back to normal as possible after that event. So I can tell you that there's a lot of really cool things that came out of the events of Thursday. A couple other things to be aware of coming up here on the calendar. Next week, Free Dump Week at the landfill. That means all city residents are allowed to wander over to the landfill and can take a truckload of trash for free. That's the 8th through the 13th. A reminder that school is now back in session. I believe the charter schools are about to start or will start tomorrow. I know Imagine Prep starts tomorrow. The AJ School District started last week. So again, police involved in some extra patrols around there, but more than anything else, please be careful. A lot more, traffic on the streets, and of course, kids in crosswalks and whatnot near schools. Please be careful. And my public works staff reminds me to tell folks that try not to put your trash bins on the sidewalks where kids are trying to walk to school. Not something I would have thought of, but they do see that while they're out there. So please be aware of that. And that is my report for August the 2nd, 2022.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate that, and want to say again, super huge thanks to all of our public safety departments and their preparation to be able to manage best we could, and we're so grateful everyone is okay. And that concludes my report, Your Honor.
Well, I wanted to say two comments. Number one, you can't take a vacation ever
more,
again in the
No more
monsoon season at all. Every time
Used to
city
have to
manager
endure it.
takes off, we get one heck of a storm, so no more.
Oh, on the contrary.
Got it.
And I also understand, Chief Pulley, you were out there involved with that rescue, and want to say thank you and say a personal thank you to all the officers that were currently involved in that as well, from all of us. Thank you. Okay. We have no old business, okay. New business. Presentation, discussion of professional services agreements. And I don't have who's that's going to do.
Mr. Mayor, I'll take this one.
Okay.
I'd like to invite up and introduce Sue Billings, who you are familiar with Elevated Design Studio. She's our project manager for this project, and she's going to just explain a little bit about what it is and what it's going to do for us. And also the architectural firm that's been selected for this is also here if you have any questions specifically about the project as well.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Susan Billings, Principal of Elevated Design Studio, and I am acting on behalf of the city as...
Make sure it's on. It's on, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go, yeah.
Should I repeat what I just said? Yeah. I'm Susan Billings with Principal of Elevated Design Studio, and I am assisting the city in AJ Space Needs Assessment. It's been determined that it's been about 20 years since the city has had a space needs assessment. So over that time, you have encountered some organizational growth and change, and of course, you're about to embark on potentially a lot of growth, right, with the annexation that's occurred. So I'm assisting the city in procuring an architectural firm to lead the space needs assessment endeavor, and that is who we're recommending is DFDG. They're here tonight to answer any specific questions you might have. And a space needs assessment is critical to understand not only how your organization has changed and how your capital assets in your city serve them. So it sees how your staffing projections might change, and that's of course a big one, right, with your growth. And also just how you're functioning right now, and do your assets serve the needs that you have. So the whole it includes the citywide space needs assessment. The time it will take is probably about 4 to 6 months to conduct, and the fee is in your presentation as well. With that, I can bring up DFDG to help answer any other questions. Darren Orendorf will be joining us. So with that, I turn it over to you to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Don't see any. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, this will be on for consideration on your consent agenda on August 16th, on that Tuesday night. And staff is recommending approval, of course. But that's all we have on this item.
Okay. Presentation, discussion, and the proposed resolution 22-28 authorizing the city to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation for street light improvements on Apache Trail and Val Vista Drive to State Route 88 on Superstition Boulevard from Meridian to State Route 88.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Raquel Schatz from the Public Works Department, here to discuss a intergovernmental agreement with the Department of Transportation. This one, Resolution 22-28, is for streetlight improvements on Apache Trail and also on Superstition Boulevard. So in 2019, the Maricopa County Association of Governments, MAG, had a call for project for safety projects in which the city hired a consultant to prepare these applications. We got an award of $2.4 million for both the design and construction. Currently, right now, we are looking at an 18 to 24 months of design, in which the design will include a photometrics to let us know the spacing of that we're not creating any dark spaces and we're not going to be overlighting any other spaces. So, and then construction is anticipated, or installation will be anticipated in 2024. So the areas that we're talking about is Apache Trail from Palo Verde Drive to State Route 88. There are some streetlights already installed or on Apache Trail, and they were part of like any kind of development that came in. They had to do their half street improvements. They had to install streetlights. And so there's a spot here that we're going to go ahead and fill in those areas and provide proper street lighting there. And as for Superstition Boulevard, the location there is from Meridian to SR 88. And we're looking at putting the street lighting on the south side of the road on Superstition. So the bottom corner down there, the picture, shows the vicinity of where the auto zone is on Apache Trail. There's a single light pole. Beyond there aren't any lights. So this would just be a continuation of the lights all the way to SR 88. I did mention, well, a lot of these ADOT projects, there is the cost share. This one, however, because of the safety aspect of it, our benefit cost ratio was one of the highest ones of all the projects. We qualified for a 0% local share. The only thing that we do have to put up is the ADOT project development administration fee, which is a typical $30,000. So we've so the federal will be paying $420,000 for the design, for a total of $450,000. The construction, we anticipated being roughly $2 million. But right here, you can see that the total estimated project is $2.4 million, and of that, we are only paying $30,000.
That's pretty awesome. Pretty good deal. Raquel, can you just give an example of how we were able to show or the positive net benefit there of safety?
So, especially on Apache Trail, I don't recall if there were any deaths or anything else that happened, but there were a lot of collisions that were on the road within that corridor of Apache Trail. So whenever you have anything like a collision or an incident with the pedestrian or somebody who drove their car into the median, into the ditch, I mean, those numbers speak words. So that was like the biggest factor in which is why this cost-benefit ratio was perceived as one of the highest ones in all of Maricopa County when these projects came out.
So they view it as a safety issue, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, this is part of like the highway safety program. So HISAP. And I know that there's some concerns about the dark skies and whatnot. So that's why we are taking proper measures to do these photometrics, which we're very sensitive on to make sure that we're not over lighting the corridor. However, when it comes in cases of like rain, like how we had in this past week, where the visibility is low on the road. I mean, this would kind of help out with that if there were some kind of an event at night that we do need lighting. Plus, our striping on the road there is not thermoplastic, it's not very visible at night, so lighting on these main arterial roads is gonna be very critical. Any questions?
You have any questions? I'm looking forward to it.
I just had a comment. It's, we drive it so often, so many of us, that we don't notice, and it was interesting with that photo, you talked about the one light. I had to think about that, yeah. We're used to driving, so
Yeah.
this will be good.
Yeah, I mean, there's some lights right there by the Harley Davidson in the area where there by the Office Max, and then there's a parcel there that's not developed. And then you get to the Dairy Queen and the Starbucks and the Jack in the Box, and it's got lights there, and there's even lights in the cross, south of that, the Walmart.
Yeah.
But then you get there and there's another gap,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Great plug for the local businesses.
that too.
Okay,
So we do look for, we do recommend approval on this. Well, you'll see this, oops, my fault here. It'll be on consent agenda on August 16th,
August 16th, okay.
August 16th.
All right, can you do the next one, the resolution number 22-29?
Why not? These things come in pairs.
Yep.
All right. So very similar, this is another intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation. This one is for Ironwood Drive, paved shoulder safety improvement. So we also, we applied for 2 projects at this call for projects through the MAG Safety Committee. And this one, we were awarded $1.9 million for the installation of paved shoulders and rumble strips. ADOT, since the city is not a self-certified agency, we have to rely on ADOT to review all of the plans to make sure that all the federal guidelines are cleared, and those clearances are right-of-way, materials, environmental, and what's the other one? There's another one. But yeah, so there's 4 main clearances that we rely on ADOT to get clearances through the feds in order for us to be using these federal funds. So through the ADOT process, it takes approximately 18 to 24 months. So that's why anytime you see my schedules, these ADOT projects, it's very typical, these 18 to 24 months. So this one also is for 2024, in which, I mean, if we could have staggered these, we would have preferred to have them staggered. However, if we were to finish one of these 2 projects ahead of time, we don't have to pair these at the same time. We can do one and then the other one. So. Existing conditions. So we are looking at Ironwood Drive from Elliott to Baseline. And when I say shoulders, you can see the existing shoulder here. This is probably one of the better ones, in which you might have like a 2-foot shoulder, and then you see that steep hill that goes off there. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to install 5-foot shoulders with rumble strips. And these are just examples. It's not saying that we haven't started the design yet, but these are just examples of what a shoulder with rumble strips would look like. Some people may ask, well, why are you putting in shoulders and why aren't you widening the road? I'll show you in a bit. But just to put in 5-foot shoulders, it's going to cost $1.7 million. This is money that the city doesn't have. Our share of that is $92,000. To put shoulders, to put in a lane to widen from 2 to 3 lanes in each direction on Ironwood Drive, it's going to cost 4 to 5 times more than that. And the reason why? That steep hill. We're going to have to build up that side of the road there quite a bit. Of earthwork involved, right-of-way. We're also going to have to look at that because there are some areas there where we're going to need right-of-way as well too. So this will be our interim measure. You know, we apply for these projects. We get funding. This is our interim measure to provide safety. We install the shoulders. It's not throwaway work. When we do have time to come in later on to actually widen the road to 3 lanes with the shoulder, it won't cost us much because some of the work is already done. So back to our cost share. This one, we have a 5.7% match. So of the design, we've got that $30,000 plus the $15,000 for a $303,000 design. You see ADOT's paying the majority of that one. The construction, it's a $1.7 million anticipated construction cost. These were, of course, taken in 2019, so we don't know what's going to happen in 2024, if the costs are going to double like we've seen recently from February to now. But like I said, 1.7 million, and our cost share is 92,000 of that. For a total estimated project cost of $2 million, the city's 5.7%, well, a little slightly more over than 5.7%, is $138,000. Once again, this is just to install shoulders and rumble strips on Ironwood Drive to provide safety for any cars that may need to pull over for any kind of safety. Public Works recommends approval on this, and you'll see this on your consent agenda on the 16th. Any questions?
Your Honor.
She answered it, the rumble strips. I think people figured it out from the picture. I was going to ask, but then you showed a picture, because sometimes the public hears a term and they don't,
I
they're
know
not
that,
as
yeah. So like, here's like an example, like that third picture right there, and even the one with the bicycle. Not saying that we're gonna install enough for bicycle lanes, but I kind of wanted to show a little difference of the line, the rumble strips, and the potential to put bicycle lanes if we wanted to add bicycle lanes, but that's way in the future when we are able to find the funds to do the third lane. So I think you can see a slight rumble strip on this one as well, too.
Yep. And of course, that's one of the things that the roads that we inherited when we did the annexation. And this was a concern by a lot of people at the time when that used to be county.
Yeah, and every time we do a slurry seal on that, there was rubble strips before. Well, that slurry seal fills in those strips, and then it takes Pinal County, I don't know how many times, to go back with their own funding to install those rumble strips back.
Yep.
So.
And as well as the steep, there's really no pull-offs like this shown picture here is.
Yeah, so back in 2013, we did a similar project right here on Ironwood Drive where we installed six pull-offs, and that was using the same funding source, so.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So this is supposed to take place in 2024?
Correct, installation.
So over the next year, this road, this side of this road is going to be tore up to run utilities down to the master plan communities, correct?
South of Elliott, from what I understand. So this is from Elliott to Baseline.
So we're going south of Elliott, that's where this is getting tore up?
No, oh, well, yeah,
The part that'll be, Your Honor, as I understand it, is south of Elliott,
the utilities.
Warner Ray, the utilities at water sewer they're going in. This project is Elliott north to Baseline.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So we're not doing the double.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering.
right.
So we're bringing utility ins from the south.
Correct, that's correct.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you. Okay, council direction to staff. We don't have any items for this evening.
Oh, you're missing one.
One more, Mayor.
Number 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to skip through that, I guess, huh? Presentation, discussion, and replacement of Superstition Shadows Aquatic Center Pool Side Deck.
Slide deck.
Oh, slide.
Good evening, Mayor Wilson, members of council. Thank you. Liz Langenbach, Parks and Recreation Director. I'm just here to share with you briefly about a project that we have in the budget for this year. We are looking, our pool slide at the Aquatic Center is 20 years old. That's about how long ago we built that renovation to the zero-depth play pool area. A couple of years ago, our very highly skilled maintenance staff attempted to replace the decking that was getting old. And normally that'd be something simple that we could do. However, the decking that is used for this slide is 20 years old. We cannot find that same product anymore. And in order to do something different, it would have to be something that is adhered in a different way. We reached out to several companies over the last, in that short amount of time, and we really struggled to find anybody that was willing to come in and do the construction on that deck and engineer it and all of those kinds of things. So we've really been looking for a source for a while now. And every time we find something that might be a possibility, 6 months later, it's another $20,000. So we really felt strongly after talking with our finance department, we wanted to get into this budget year. We are recommending that a contract be given to Shasta, who had a lot of design and did much of the pool whenever it was renovated. They are on a state contract, they are on a JOC contract with the City of Scottsdale that we are able to piggyback on, and our finance department has reviewed that. We also set aside funds from our ARPA funding, and so it's a great pot of money for one-time types of things like this that need to be done for safety and longevity of our facility. And I'm happy to show you more, but I have a picture of the slide, but I think many of you are well aware of what that looks like. It's going to be that top slide deck, as well as all the stair treads that we will be replacing this year. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I can't believe it's been 20 years.
I
I'm
know.
so old.
Tell me about it.
Time
Agreed.
flies when we're having all this fun.
And this one, I believe, will be on the consent agenda. Is that what was decided, depending on the conversation tonight? We'll be on consent agenda 2 weeks from now.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have no direction to staff, other than pay attention to what's being read. Chip. Selection of meeting dates and times and locations and purposes.
Your Honor,
Yes,
I move that an executive session at 6 p.m. for Monday, August 15th, and an executive session at 6 p.m. for Tuesday, August 16th, in the City Council Conference Room located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard in Apache Junction, Arizona, and other meetings scheduled as necessary.
Second.
moved and second, roll call.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Heck?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay, we're now to the call of the public. I would like to remind everyone, call of the public is a courtesy and not required by law. It's a time for the public to express requests, communications, comments, and suggestions. Request to speak forms must be completed and handed to the city clerk before the end of the city manager's report. All issues shall be presented in a professional manner without personal attacks. Under the open meeting law, the council may not engage in discussion on the issues presented, but may respond to criticism and may direct staff to follow up with the speaker directly and/or place the matter on a future agenda for council discussion. There is a 3-minute limit for each speaker. And I have one, and it's Amy Timms.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and other Apache Junction residents. My name is Amy Timms. I'm a VFW member. I'm dedicated to veterans issues, and that's how I got here today, because I believe that we build memorials to remind veterans and their families of their sacrifice on our behalf. And in looking at Veterans Memorial Park, I went online to see it, and it was a picture of a parking lot. Okay, that certainly wouldn't entice anyone to go visit the gazebo, which I know is there because last year the district VFW made a presentation of a memorial at that park. It was a big deal. It was really nice. And we talked about signage at the time because from Superstition in Idaho, there's nothing but 3 utility boxes. Okay, so in the meantime, I did look online, and I did find, if I went to Parks and Recs, they have a beautiful video of the landscape that includes the library and multi-gen center and this stuff here. It shows you how pretty that little park actually is. It's very pretty from the sky. But standing at the corner across the street from there, which the reason I did was because of the dog park. Okay, and that is gorgeous. I grant you that. It has a great sign, and it's blue. And you can clearly see that this is the Dutchman Dog Park, and we all honor our dogs. We all love our dogs. But we also honor our veterans, and wouldn't it be cool if we had a sign, a similar sign, on that corner across, letting us know that that was Veterans Memorial Park. And that's what I came here to talk about. I actually have no other information, because when I tried to find out why we created the park to begin with, you know, like when and why, I couldn't find that online either. So maybe we need to up our presence online a little bit for that park. So that's what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Any comments?
I think a sign would be great.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I remember when we did the 15-year was that there was a lot of discussion. I know that,
Right,
that
Mandy? Yeah.
you remember that they were going to put a sign with the symbols of our armed forces, but somewhere along the line, that did not occur. And that was part of what we talked about at that time. And a lot of the veterans in town, being that we have people from both of the VFWs here, we do not honor our veterans as much as we should for being a Purple Heart city. That's one of the few things that, you know, when you think about Apache Junction, you think about the horses and everything else. We are probably the highest amount of veterans per capita than any other place in the state. More than what you see in some of the places that have bases. Because this is where veterans chose to have a peaceful, retired life. And we need to honor that a little bit better, in my mind, by making sure that they know that that is an actual area dedicated to what they stood for.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Bravo.
Okay.
Not out.
We'll
Okay.
need to put it on a,
We certainly could put it on a future agenda. We could definitely talk a little bit more on this and start. Every one of these projects starts with an idea like this.
Yeah.
Is how it gets started.
Your Honor, if I could just comment, I just wanted to thank this, this lady for coming and bringing that to our attention. You know, when you drive around, you're in the town all the time, you don't necessarily see or think about things that way, and you're spot on. You're absolutely right. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Thank you.
Your Honor?
Good information.
yes.
I would like to make one other little statement. When we did have the dedication of the bronze for the 9/11, there was a little confusion, and unfortunately, we do need to see about having somebody turn the rock around, because they placed it on the side of the rock so that if you're taking a picture, you have a picture of the parking lot in the background,
Yeah.
where it was designed and thought of as take a picture in the parking lot facing the Veterans Memorial gazebo.
Okay.
Yeah. Just another one of those things that
It was an oops.
yeah.
Always an opportunity to improve, and
Yes.
great thoughts.
Okay. I don't see any other questions or comments. I will adjourn the meeting.